Hey, this is Derek Frank from Great Falls, Montana, and you're watching Takeover TV.
No, this isn't a joke. All those cards you just saw, I sold in my takeover sales on Twitter in 2017 for around $135 total. And nowadays, they'd be valued at just over 4,500. Maybe even more if he wins the Super Bowl. Maybe you have a story like I did too, where you sold something too early and now you regret it. I'd be lying if I said this is the only time I ever did that. I actually, in 2013, sold a LeBron James rookie card that was numbered out of only 25 for just over $300. But that's a completely different story for a different time. Now, you might be telling me, you're sitting there watching, you're like, this guy's a full time seller who owns a sports card business where he flips cards, and he sold them for just that much? Like, does this guy even know what he's doing? But here's the thing, I sold them for exactly what they were going for at the time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. For one, the sports card industry was popular and there were a good amount of people in it, but it was not what you know it to be now. It's not the explosion that we saw when COVID hit. It's not what we saw at the National in 2019 and on. There just weren't that many people in it, and the values hadn't spiked like they are at now. We also didn't know the type of quarterback that Patrick Mahomes would even be. I mean, for all the way it was set up, he was just sitting behind Alex Smith waiting for his turn to play. He was supposed to be training behind this other quarterback. And really the only dose that we even saw of Patrick Mahomes in his rookie season was a little bit of action in a game where he threw for 284 yards, 0 touchdowns, and threw an interception. That's not the Mahomes we know today. So many people that see what I did with these cards tell me that they would have sat on them, they would have held them and seen the massive profits over time. But anyone saying that is kidding themselves, because how often do we do that? Especially when we're opening a product or buying something and we're not getting the exact guy that we want, the exact rookie, the exact quarterback especially. We're pretty quick to move on from those cards or be bummed out even. I mean, if you're not holding every single QB that you pull out of a pack of cards now, you can't convince me that you would have done this with this guy. So many times we're swayed by public opinion and hype, and we follow what other people are saying rather than our own instinct. In fact, if you look back at 2017, where collectors were focused, in that draft particularly, look through it. Myles Garrett was the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, he was a defensive player, but a lot of people were really excited about him. Then there's other guys like Christian McCaffrey, Mike Williams. Mitch Trubisky was actually the first quarterback drafted. He was number 2 overall to the Chicago Bears. That was a guy that, although people had differing opinions, he was actually pretty hyped at the time and valuable. And if we're really honest with ourselves, for every single quarterback that is a hit, there are a ton of misses. In fact, for every single Patrick Mahomes, there's a Jake Locker, and a Brady Quinn, and a Johnny Manziel, and a Joey Harrington, and a Vince Young, and a Jamarcus Russell, and a Kyle Bowler, and a Keely Smith, a Ryan Leaf, a Tim Couch. I could go on and on. The other question I get a lot of the time is, did you lose money on this sale, and do you regret selling? Now, yes, of course, I regret selling in the sense that if I had held, I would see a lot more money today, and that would be great. I actually didn't lose money on the sale, though. The guy that sold it to me, and I took him at full asking price, I nearly doubled what I bought them for after the sales. Back to the regret part, though. Another reason why I don't regret it is this has actually become a huge advertising and fun tool for the DMN takeover on Twitter. About every single year, once a year, these tweets resurface, someone reposts it, says they can't believe what I sold them at back then or what they were valued at. Once again, that was the exact value. I wasn't even off. And it becomes just a great little, talkable thing. But I also have to deal with a lot of notifications of people coming in and being like, do you still have those available at that price? And I have to remind them that was in 2017 and they are long gone. Overall, it turns into a good bit, and I have a really good sense of humor about it. This is also the perfect time to tell you about the takeover. It happens Monday, Wednesday, Friday on my Twitter page, and I go live with sales basically all day. I think this whole thing teaches us some good life lessons, business lessons, and card collecting lessons in general as well. For one, it reminds us not to be dragged down by, mistakes or misses, because sometimes we can be so focused on a mistake we made just before that we miss the good thing ahead of us. It also can help us inform better decisions and could be profitable down the line or just good for our collection. And I think being honest and lighthearted about our mistakes and misses actually helps us be more approachable, more relatable, and allows us to make fun content down the line. Another lesson that I personally learned from it is have a little bit more patience. Sometimes you don't know what a guy's going to turn out to be. If I'd waited just a little bit longer, even into the next season, when he threw 50 touchdowns, think of how much more that would have spiked. Or 2019, when the card industry really took off. I think this year especially teaches us a little bit of patience because, aside from the fact that card companies aren't getting out the cards as fast as usual, so we don't have all the rookies, think of it like a guy like Brock Purdy. Like if cards dropped right away on the schedules that they used to, if people were pulling Brock Purdy cards ahead of the season, outside of being a Brock Purdy fan or collector, they would have been like bummed out with the boxes. They've been posting it on Instagram and Twitter talking about how it was a waste of time, waste of money. They would have been getting rid of those cards so quick. And then we watched Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick of the NFL draft, lead his team deep into the postseason and become a valuable piece of collectibles for people. That leads me to another thing right now. Now is the perfect time to start thinking about, what guys, what quarterbacks, what positions in general, collectibles, no matter what sport it is, doesn't have to be football. Who might be being overlooked right now? Because I guarantee you there is someone right now who we're not paying proper attention to, who in 5 years we will look back and be like, why didn't I buy that guy? I mean, see if you can come up with a list of who those people might be. I'm going to do that after this. Come up with a list, start, researching what their values are at now. Work a little bit with your instinct, trust your instinct a little bit within financial reason, and see what you can put together of who to go after. And last but not least, just have fun on your collecting journey. Things happen, there's highs and lows. The highs wouldn't be as high if we didn't taste the lows too. It's also fun to just physically hold cards. I might have sold these Patrick Mahomes autographs way too early, but I got to hold a piece of history, a piece of memorabilia of a player who's doing amazing things right now. If even for a moment, it was fun to have those cross my path. Just get out there and have fun, friends. Peace and love.